Hey everyone, Michael Anthony here. Van Halen, Chickenfoot, Sammy in the Circle. But anyway, you're listening to the only podcast that is dedicated to breaking down the entire Van Halen catalog one track at a time. And the podcast will rock. Ow!
Hello, baby!
What is up, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between? You have joined us for a new edition of And the Podcast Will Rock. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And if it's your first time, welcome. Hi, how did you find us? My guess is you like the band we're talking about. But what we do here is we discuss the catalog and discography of one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, one track at a time. I'm talking about Van Halen. You know the drill. I am your co-host, Mark Kamire. With me, as always, Corey Morissette. Corey, how you feeling this evening?
I am tired. Today was leg day at the gym, Mark, so I'm exhausted. I need a pick me up.
Legs.
Can't skip legs. So I knew today was leg day. And I knew I'd need a pick me up. So we had to go out and get just two of the best guests we've ever had in the history of the show. And I'm happy to say they both said yes for some reason, and they're both here tonight. Mark, give them one of your patented super cool intros.
It's because they love us so much, Corey, and we love them too. We're talking, of course, about one of, if not the fan favorite of the fan guests. Well, actually, she is now an honorary panelist because she's been on the show so many times, and because she is such a fan favorite. Give it up for Kelsey Van Halen herself. What's up, Kels? How you doing?
Like I say, always an honor to be here, and I'm glad that people love me as much as I love coming on the show. So I'm happy to be here, as usual.
Just a diehard Van Halen fan to the core. I think that's probably why people really appreciate it. And we certainly appreciate you being on the show for that reason. But not to be outdone, never to be outdone. Always we get these little comments about how we are not rock historians. We know nothing about this band that we're talking about. And you might be right, but that is why we enlist in the actual experts. And there's no better than the expert we have on the panel, also an honorary panelist, Eric Senich. What's up, Eric? Welcome back to the show.
A certified expert. I have my certification somewhere
there
here. I'll find it.
Yeah, you have it. It's in there somewhere.
I'll wear the Sammy shirt.
Well, Kevin's going to do up a T-shirt, Podcast Will Rock T-shirt that'll say certified expert on there.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yes, and Kevin, if you're listening, boy, that Extreme song, "Beautiful Girls," what a great tune, huh?
He loves it.
Woo!
It's his ringtone now, I hear.
I almost got into an accident laughing so hard.
We were just gonna milk that for all it's worth.
Oh,
because
love Extreme and all, but yeah, that's like wow. I was thinking maybe Kevin's being a little, yeah.
No, Kevin was on the money, right right on that whole time. So.
That's great. I'd say back to back, listen to that, and then watch Dave doing his clown dances. Let's do that all.
Nobody needs that. But I'll tell you what the people do need. They need to hear about what is going on in the world of Van Halen news. This is how we start the show every single time. And normally I throw it to Corey to basically read off what you, Eric and company, put on your website at Van Halen News Desk. So why don't I just go to you directly, Eric? What is going on in the world of Van Halen?
I think you guys left off last time. Did you mention Sammy getting the star in Hollywood?
Yep,
you did mention that.
We did.
I think that's where you left off. So then we posted Wolfgang's latest single, "Take a Bow."
Mm-hmm.
Did you? I think you mentioned that.
We did mention that in the Frankenstein solo.
Worth mentioning again. Holy shit, that's a great song. And the solo, man. And Michael Anthony was saying, he's telling Eddie Trunk on Eddie Trunk's, he's got a new show on YouTube that rocks. And even Michael Anthony was like, he got like, the goosebumps. Like it was like he was channeling Ed. He goes, that's exactly what Ed would play over that music.
Yeah,
exactly.
Neil Sean,
I'm glad it's in there.
Yeah, this segment needs a little music, I think. All right, go ahead, Eric.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
All around the world.
You just need a little music bed to do the news over top. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Neil Sean paid tribute to Eddie.
Somewhere out in the distance of Canada in the wilds in the frozen wasteland, there's a Kevin Brown screaming.
Neil Sean paid tribute to Eddie, which was really cool. You guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah, he was just jamming on one of Ed's EVH guitars. And Mikey going through the entire Van Halen catalog. He's ready for a tribute if it happens. He's ready to go. He's going through every single song from all the albums he was on, which is 12. What is it? It's 12 albums, I believe. 13.
Do you count 3? He was on 2 tracks on Van Halen 3.
Yeah. It's late at night. My math isn't good, but
but I don't think he's counting those either.
Yeah, but he said he's going through all of it and he's ready if it happens.
Because he mentions this, especially on Eddie Trunk's show, do you think he's got an inkling? Maybe he heard something from someone in the camp that says this could happen?
Yeah, hard to say. I mean, he's good with keeping things secret if that's the case. Who knows? It's 12 though. It's 7 with Dave, 4 with Sammy, 1 with Gary. But yeah, that'd be cool, man. If it happens, Mikey's ready. And before I get to the the Van Halen 6-pack one I just put up yesterday, Wolfie debuted Take a Bow live. It's not the greatest recording, but it's good enough just to see that he, it was the first night he played it, which was in Portugal. And it's just as good, if not better, live. And then tomorrow, I was telling Corey before we went live with everyone. I think we were on with the Patreon supporters, but Darren Paltrowitz of the DLR cast, he's been on your show, and has a book on Dave coming out in the fall on David Lee Roth. He shared a great quote from the guy from Bill and Ted, Alex Winter. Yeah, Alex was on the Paltrow cast, Darren's podcast. And Darren's great because he always sneaks in a VH question. And of course, Bill and Ted, I think it was in the first one where they talk about Van Halen and how Eddie's like the god. So it'll be up tomorrow. You can read it. But basically, Eddie was going to be in that last one. He agreed to be in the last Bill and Ted movie, but was sick. And he said, Alex, all 3 films, they would ask Eddie and the band, do you guys want to be on? Primarily Eddie, and Eddie always passed. And this time around, he was going to do it. So the scene where you see Dave Grohl, where they're in Dave Grohl's house, and Dave Grohl's like, "What the hell are you doing in here?" That was supposed to be Ed at his house.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's a great scene in that movie. It's probably arguably one of the better ones. And I like the movie. I didn't think it was too
I didn't
bad,
see
but,
it. Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah. It's a fine conclusion to that series, but man, that would have hit so much harder if that had been Eddie's place. That's such a shame. No offense to Dave Grohl whatsoever. I love Dave Grohl.
No, and I'm glad if it wasn't Eddie, Dave Grohl, he's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm like, I love Dave Grohl.
Yeah, without a doubt. It just would have been so cool.
That's a fun fact.
If it was Ed.
Yeah, a little sneak preview because it doesn't go up. I think I timed it to go up at like 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So you'll see it there. And I wanted to embed that clip of Dave Grohl, but it's there on YouTube. But if you try to embed it onto the website, it's blocked. The user says you can't do it. So, but you'll see it on YouTube if anybody watches. So, but let's get to the thing. I wanted to jump on real quick, guys, because I thought it was cool. And I reached out to Corey. And Corey, you were saying you were already aware of it. In fact, on Discord, there were some comments that people were making. So it's basically asking for it's the Van Halen 6-pack because Eddie Trunk has this new show called That Rocks, and it's him, Jim Florentine, and Don Jamieson. And they used to have That Metal show on VH1 Classic. So this is kind of like a spin-off of it. And so before they had Michael Anthony on, they just basically said, what are your top 6 Van Halen albums? And a lot of interesting responses. And some, Mark, you're going to love it. Van Halen 3. More than a few people had Van Halen 3 on their top 6. How about that?
If it works for them, that's great.
Right.
I mean, but how many of them were in like the top 3 of that 6? Because
we'll find out.
5.
Yeah, we'll find out. I'm going to go through them now. And Corey, you have the comments on Twitter, so I'll start with what I got here on the VHND, and then you can share what you saw on there, and then we can all pick our top 6. So here's a VHND, Ron Simonetti. He's got Fair Warning at 1, Van Halen 1 at 2, 5153, Women and Children First 4, Van Halen 2, 5, A Different Kind of Truth at 6. VH Red Rocker, so we know he's a Sammy fan. He's got VH1, Fair Warning, 1984, 5150, Oh You It One 2, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Here's EF, E equals F flat. That's his name. Edward, Alex, Michael, David, Lee, and Roth. That's what he put for his 1 through 6. Very clever. Let's see. Here we go. Ed Head, Fair Warning, Van Halen 1, Women and Children First, 5150, Balance, and Van Halen 3.
Oof.
And somebody, Adam King, posted below, another lover of 3. Daniel Wissert, 5150, Van Halen, self-titled at 2, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, Fair Warning, Balance, 1984. Craven Moorhead, the first 6 in any order you like. Basically, the Van Halen 6-pack that's actually a name that's been affixed to those first 6 albums from the Dave era. So we did get some of those comments like, wasn't it already established that it's the first 6? We get that, but this... okay, Edwill Cantors or Cantress. Fair Warning, 1984. Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2. Different Kind of Truth. Women and Children First. Let's see. Getting towards the end here. Okay, VH1. This is from Kausurfur. Kauaisrfr. VH1, VH2, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, Diver Down. First time we got a Diver Down, 1984, and a chaser of A Different Kind of Truth. Let's see if we got any more here. Okay, Drew 48, VH1, VH2, 1984, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, A Different Kind of Truth. Different Kind of Truth's getting a lot of love. Scott Everett. You know Scott. 1984, the album that introduced me to the greatest band of all time, he adds. Number 2, Van Halen 1, 3, 5150, 4, Fair Warning, 5, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, 6, Van Halen 2. Let's load some more comments. Brian, 1, Fair Warning, 84, Women and Children First, 2, and again, A Different Kind of Truth. Cheese Booger. That's his name.
Mark, is that your burner account?
Yeah, that's my burner account. You got me.
Yeah. Van Halen 2 at the very top. Fair Warning, 1984. Women and Children First, 5150. For Unlawful. That's 6.
I'm really happy to see how many people are including Fair Warning. That's really surprising to me.
Which is interesting. You bring that up because I don't have it in my 6, but I feel like I should, but I'm going to explain why I don't.
Fair enough.
And I'm going to get hate for this. Let's see. Well, somebody just put the first 6 Dave albums. So
I was looking at your on the Twitter account. 90% of the people did that. The only one I wanted to read off Twitter before I get into the Discord was Pat Wilson put Van Halen 3 6 times. And then put Gary Sharon, number 1 singer.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Number 1 Gary fan.
Rock and Ron VH. He goes, the best 6. Is that a trick question? Let's see. VH1, VH2, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, Diver Down in 1984. He said, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty easy. Scroll down. Oh, that should be it, I think. So what do you got on Twitter, Corey?
Well, I was like, Twitter is kind of pretty much all the ones you just read, plus a few goofy ones. I wanted to go more to our Discord server because that's
okay.
our and the Podcast of Rock Patreons are on there talking about their top 6. Scott Manifesto Monroe, his top 6 were Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, Fair Warning, Diver Down, For Unlawful, and Balance at number 6. So,
yeah, Balance,
my man,
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Well, you can make the argument Balance is their best sounding album.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the
It did not
and
make my six.
don't
though,
tell me
just
it's on
barely.
that. Yeah, no, me too. Mine didn't. That's like right on my the edge.
All right.
For me.
Yeah, let's go with Jeff Brewer here. In approximate order: Van Halen 1, Fair Warning number 2, 1984 number 3, Women and Children First number 4, Van Halen 2 number 5, 5150 number 6, and then a seventh. I guess right close to 5150. He had 4 Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. So pretty good list there. Ryan Powell. He has 4 Unlawful number 1. I think that was the album that got him into Van Halen. Fair Warning number 2, Balance number 3, 1984 number is 4th, Van Halen 1 5th, and 5150 6th. So definitely more of a Sammy guy there.
We haven't had a lot of OU 812s. I don't even know if we've had any.
I don't know if we've had any. Yeah, like it's. I've been going through these lists quite a bit, and I don't recall seeing an OU 812. Kevin Brown, that cranky fucker who doesn't like extreme, he put basically in order 5150.
He just cannot live on this stream today.
Usually he's lurking too. I'm hoping he comes in here.
Well,
That's why he can't live, because he's not here.
That's right. As soon as he pops on the stream. As soon as he pops on the stream, I'm playing Beautiful Girls again. So just so you know.
Oh, God. Just
his top 6.
Burn.
Oh, his top 6. Yeah. What does he have?
5150, Women and Children First, 1984, Van Halen 1, 4 Unlawful, and Fair Warning.
Okay. Kevin's a podcast. Kevin is a podcast whore. I've heard him on Sean McGinnity's podcast. I've heard him here. I mean, for God's sakes, Kevin.
And him and I are
trying to
starting
keep
a new
up
show.
with Corey.
Him and I are starting a new one. It's dropping in a couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, what's that going to be on?
Oh, we haven't really announced it yet, but it's
on A-Band. It's a deep dive into Van Halen 3. Is that what it's going to be?
Exactly, just Van Halen 3.
Oh Lord.
We talk about once for like 6 episodes.
Oh no, I know it's a Gordon Lightfoot. It's all about Gordon Lightfoot.
Report every episode.
That's right. Episode 1, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's going to be great.
Block.
Right. I got one more list here.
One more.
From Per Lineker. Number 1, his top album, Van Halen 2. I like this guy. Fair Warning number 2, OU 812 number 3. There's our first OU 812. Balance number 4, Van Halen 3 number 5, and A Different Kind of Truth number 6.
Okay. And Blood and Fire should have been the first single on A Different Kind of Truth.
Man, I thought so, but Mark was not a fan of that one for some reason.
Yeah, Kevin was a little creeped. I
explained it on the show.
Kevin was a little creeped out by that. Told you I was coming back. Say you miss me.
Yeah. What's your safe word? That's just naughty. That's not consensual anymore.
No.
Dave should have added the okay, like he does in the podcast. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I want to know, everybody on the call here, what were your Van Halen 6-packs? Let's start with Kelsey. Kelsey, why don't you give us your top 6?
What do you got?
Well, hold on. I wrote this down, so let me get it up. Okay, here we go. So this is, anyone who knows me, anyone who follows me, this is no surprise. My number 1 is Fair Warning. I love Fair Warning. I will go to the ends of the earth to defend this album. I love this album so much. Things I wrote down are, it's super creative and it's really non-commercial, and it obviously performed that way as well. And but I really feel like this album, it really showcases like everything that Van Halen has to offer, not only musically but also production wise. And like I think like it shows, hold on, what songs did I write down? Oh, it's like So This Is Love, like super like out of the blue for like anything that Van Halen does. That bass riff in the beginning and just the way it's kind of like, and the way that Eddie's like, dun, 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 like it's super like groovy. And that's like, we don't really hear anything like that in the first, like maybe Dance the Night Away, but like nothing that like really deep into that kind of vibe. So that one, and I put Center Swing on here as well, like as a good, another one, like a really great, like it's a huge, I think this album is like a really good showcase of what Van Halen is and what Van Halen has to offer, and like how heavy they can go, how light they can go, how well David can write his lyrics, how well Eddie can play rhythm and lead, like, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, that would be number 1. My notable like tracks from this are Dirty Movies, Hear About It Later, that opening, and like when Eddie's guitar roars through the intro, like there's nothing else like listening to that. And then Mean Street, of course. And like all those, and obviously like Unchained is another really good one. Like I think it's very core, like raw, and like it's just really good Van Halen. This is the album I like show people. I'm like, listen to this one. And then, cause this really shows them as a brand, as an artist. And like, you know what I mean? Like, so that would be number one for me. Number two is Van Halen 1. Cause obviously, I specifically wrote down with this album, where would rock music be and where would Van Halen be? Because like this album, I remember my dad literally telling me, he's like, the first time I heard that album, no one had ever heard anything like Eruption. And he's like, people were listening to it and were like, holy, like, who is this guy? Like, and so I think like dropping that album first, it's very raw, heavy. We don't give a fuck. Like, we're Van Halen. And so like, I think this is a really great album to drop first and kind of showcase like what they're about. It wasn't like, it really didn't stray too far from like really heavy rock and like heavy guitar music. And which is like, obviously, like, I think, like I said, I think it's a really great album for their first album. And it really kind of showed you like what they're about. I'm the One, On Fire, and obviously Eruption. Like, those are my top three that I would like show someone off this album. Like, I think On Fire is like one of the, it's so tight and it's so fast and it's so good. Like, I just think it's like anyone says like, what's good music? I'm like, this has every element of a great song and of a great band. And like, just, they know what the hell they're doing, and they show you that in their first album. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
preaching to the choir.
Yeah. My number 3 is 5150. The ones I wrote down on this was Love Walks In, because I think that song like another like shows a whole nother side of Van Halen. And I think that's what this album does, obviously, because there's a new singer. But I always tell people this, like, I think Sammy joining the band really opened doors for Eddie creatively that he had never really, he'd considered like obviously keys and stuff, but David was such a showman that he shot that shit down real quick. He was like, I want guitars, or not even that. Like you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't really allowing Eddie to expand himself the way that he could. And I think Sammy really did that, because Sammy's also, I always tell people David's a front man, Sammy's a musician, and like, which, like, neither good or bad for either of them. Like, I just think they're both good in their respective rights. And like I said, it shows you, like, this album shows a whole nother side of Eddie that we've never really seen. And like with his, we saw it a little bit with his keys in 1984 and Women and Children First, but I think this was really like full-fledged, like, hey, well, and also it was a rebranding. So like, that's a whole nother, so, but I think it was a very good and successful rebranding. So my other one is For Unlawful. That's number 4.
That's your 4.
So I think this is one of their best produced albums, and like Eddie's tone is, I think, at its best here. Like, and I really think it's like, I don't know if that's like whether it was the production or Eddie himself, but I think it sounds so full. I think it sounds like, Van Halen 1 was like his original tone. He's like, this is who I am. This is what I've got. But then however much longer, it's almost like 20 years after, right? I guess like, no, it was probably more like 15 after Van Halen 1 that this came out. And I think it just sounds like, Eddie grew up a decade and he matured his sound. He matured the way that he likes to sound like outside of the studio, you know what I mean? So yeah, so the ones I would pick from here are Pound Cake, Judgment Day. Judgment Day's intro, like, you turn that shit on, you're like, what the fuck is this? And then because like I remember, so I've told you guys the story before, but when I heard it on the podcast, that was my first time hearing it, and I was like, woo! It was a great first song to not be familiar with. And also Sammy's vocals in this, all over this album, are absolutely insane. So there's really nothing you can, I think, and like, I just think the band sounds so full, matured, and tight here. And I think you really can't get much better than that. And like, I don't remember reading about this time much in Eddie's book, or even like the manager's book, but I don't know how tense things were here, but it sounds like they're on, like everyone's on the same page. And that's why I really like this album. So number 5 is Women and Children. This is, I feel like, an extension of Van Halen 1. Like, I think it's so Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2, obviously. I think it's so raw. I think it's so like Fools, Romeo Delight, Everybody Wants Some. I think those are just loud, hard rock songs. And I think they're so good. They're so good. Like, if you just want to drive like 20 plus over the speed limit, put this album on. So good. So good. Yeah, I literally wrote fast, loud, we don't give a fuck music. So, yes. And then my last one is 1984, Girl Gone Bad, Panama, Hot for Teacher. So this technically was the album that got me into Van Halen. Panama was the first song that I heard. So I think this album could have been longer. I think there should have been more songs on it. I think it would have made it a better album. But other than that, like I said, we already got some bangers. But I think it was like, we're seeing a little bit of Eddie's keys in here, like All Way. It was such a great song. And like, I think you can kind of see where they're starting to tear apart, but it still sounds really good. Like David sounds really strong. And like Eddie sounds like he's starting to break his creative barrier. And the drums and the harmonies, of course, always sound amazing. So those are my top 6.
That's a great list.
That's a great list.
Thank you. Hell
yeah.
Scott Monroe in the chat says, Jeff Brewer says Kelsey needs to be on every week. So you got a full-time job, Kelsey.
I got it. Well, yeah, technically.
All right, why don't we go to Mark Meyer next? I'm kind of curious, Mark, how your top 6 shaped up.
I can tell you that it's whatever it has shaped to be at this very moment. I guarantee you will change the further we go in the show and by the end of it. So it might surprise you. I'll just say right off the bat, the Roth era dominates the Sammy era at this given moment. So just putting that out there.
Interesting.
I don't have a lot to sort of comment on individually with the album, so I'll just tell you what they are, because for various reasons. But right as of right now, my top 6, I'm looking at number 6, OU812, number 5, Women and Children First, actually, number 4, Van Halen 2, which is kind of shocking that it kind of fell that far ahead, but it's still great. Number 3, 1984, of course. Number 2, though, for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. And then at the number 1, number 2, because it just was beat barely by, of course, Van Halen 1.
Right.
So right. I specifically chose not to use Best of Volume 1 because it just felt like a cheat. So break it up into albums. So that's where I'm at right now for my top 6.
Well, that's also a pretty good list. Kind of some surprises on there. I'm surprised Balance didn't make it actually, Mark, because
it was so close. It's definitely a top 10.
Well, and that's what I love about this top 6 thing, Eric, that you're doing, because nobody's wrong except that one person who put Van Halen 3 6 times.
Yeah, except that guy.
You're the only person that's wrong.
That's absolutely incorrect.
Absolutely wrong. You know how people say there's no stupid answers or no stupid questions? There's that
those
one.
Are 6 stupid answers. 6
stupid answers.
They never met Pat on Twitter with 6 Van Halen 3s, but because it's so personal, right? And mine was kind of personal to me. I know I got a little grief in the Discord chat because I didn't have Fair Warning. Fair Warning is my number 7.
All right, I gotta go. Bye, guys.
No, it alternates with Women and Children for me. Women and Children this
Fair
week
enough.
I had at number 6. I love Women and Children.
Album.
I just love that heavier vibe to it, and they're just like maybe the odd track on Fair Warning that I like a little less than the ones I do on Fair.
One foot out the door. Everyone say it. It's okay.
You caught me. I still upvoted it though. I like that track. Number 5 I had For Unlawful. Great album. That and Balance, you can make the argument, are the 2 best sounding. And Kelsey, I love what you're talking about with Eddie's tone, because it sound the guitars on that album are just insane. Like Judgment Day, especially Pound Cake, Run Around is one of my all-time favorite songs, period, much less Sammy's song. So that's my number 5. Number 4, Van Halen 1. Number 3, 5150, which does have probably my favorite Sammy track on there, Best of Both Worlds. Love 5150. Number 2 at 1984. That's my intro album to the band. I bought that in 1984 when I was a wee lad of 10 years old, and that got me into the group. So I love 1984. Number one for me is Van Halen 2.
Wow.
Always been my favorite Van Halen record.
Wow.
Top to bottom, there's no
Actually, I'm not
skips.
shocked by that.
I think the transition from Spanish Fly to DOA is maybe the best in rock and roll. Like when you're talking about sequencing, to go from that nice acoustic to that dirty riff of DOA, chef's kiss. It's absolutely fucking perfect. So that's my top 6. Eric Senich, did you just cheap out and put every single album tied for one, or what did you do?
I didn't.
Are you the Van Halen 3 6 times guy?
No, I didn't.
This is burner.
I didn't. I will say, before I get my list, I remember to this day distinctly during my radio days when I mentioned on the air that Van Halen 3 was a bust. And this guy calls and he's trying to convince me that it's a great album. I'll never forget that, because I thought about that when I started seeing these come up on lists. They're out there. There are people that love it.
Absolutely.
Apparently
we love that record.
So I made my list. I made it with the idea in mind of like a summer 6-pack. Like what 6 albums would you take with you to the beach? Like for a whole day at the beach, right into the nighttime, partying your ass off with your friends. I just want to get that out.
Which is what Van Halen is for.
Yes. So that's why I don't have Fair Warning on there, and I really hated to have to leave it off there, but I think that and like Balance as more darker albums, more aggressive. So like, do you want to party your ass off? Yeah, Unchained you could use, but so I have at number 6 For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Like Sound, Top of the World, Pound Cake, those are party songs. So I've got For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge at 6. At number 5, I have to have the first album in there, even though I'm burned out on a lot of the radio singles, which pretty much is most of the album. But you have to have it in there because, again, if you're throwing a party, what's better than having Running with the Devil? Yeah. Christ, I'm the One.
Really got me.
You really got me on fire. Kelsey was talking about. So that's number 5. Number 4, OU812.
Nice.
I love that album, and I mean, there's ballads on there, but still, it's summertime to me. Feels So Good as a summer song. So I got that and plus that was the album that really got me into the band. When I was 16, that album came out. Next is let's see, so that leaves me at 654. At number 3, Van Halen 2. You cannot go wrong with Beautiful Girls. Not extreme. Not extreme.
I was wondering if he was just going to let that just
to clarify. Van Halen 2. Yeah, Beautiful Girls and Dance the Night Away. I mean, shit, man, that just makes me want to get drunk right now. And now the top 2. There you go. The top 2 are really difficult for me because I was going to put 2 at 1, but I didn't. I have 5150 at 2. And that's the album that turned me on to Van Halen. Like, that's the album when I first heard it, I got the goosebumps, and that's when I really became a fan. However, I have to put 1984 at 1 because it's when I became familiar with the band. I was 12 when it came out, remember it so well, the videos, etc. But it also, to me, it encompasses everything that was great about Van Halen, particularly the Dave era. Dave's personality is probably coming through more than ever on Hot for Teacher. Eddie is what he's doing on the keyboards and the guitar and just the overall songwriting. He is on top of his game. You got Jump, which is just perfection, pop rock perfection. And then you have the stuff that's like more leaning towards the older days, which would be those last 2 tracks, like House of Pain, Girl Gone Bad, like real hard, nasty, raunchy Van Halen. Drop Dead Legs, Top Jimmy, the deep tracks. I agree with Kelsey. I wish there could have been more on there. They could have. They really didn't have anything else other than Wilson Pickett's In the Midnight Hour, which you could have stuck on there, but I wouldn't have wanted that on there because it would have stuck out like a sore thumb. Like, why is there one cover amidst all of these? So it wouldn't have worked, I don't think. So there you go. Number 1, 1984.
Oh, okay. Well, Eric, you did invoke the name, so I have to play it. I'm going to play the good one.
Don't do it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, the good one. Yay.
I think we're done with the other one. Unfortunately, Scott Monroe put in all caps in the chat. Play it. Like, I'm not playing that Beautiful Girls. I'll play this one though any day of the week. So
Hell yeah. Well,
all right.
We
We've
might
already
get some
covered that
more-
song. I shouldn't play too much of it.
we might get some more
Yeah,
top
don't play too
sixes after this episode, but yeah, man, I just
hope so.
wanted to jump on and get into that. I thought that was fun, and it's just, I mean, that's the thing with the news desk is it's a quick, short and sweet thing. You can't even call it an article. It's just boom, pop it up there. Just sometimes that short and sweet stuff is people just love those lists.
Oh, and like our polls every week, we put the poll out, right, to see how everyone's going to vote on that the track we just covered, and they're very popular. And we had a poll from Blood and Fire. Mark, should we talk about that for a hot minute?
Yeah.
Well, we can. I'm just going to assume it's just everyone telling me how wrong and incorrect I am, but I don't know. Let's give it a whirl here.
All right.
It was an astounding 81.6% what dreams are made of versus myself and the 18.4% the dream is over. So if that gives you any indication about where the voting was going to go and where my position is firmly placed. But look, it just barely didn't make it. But I don't know. They're not all winners for me. And in this given moment,
it's the second highest rated track off of A Different Kind of Truth on our Twitter polls. Number one was Stay Frosty, 82.5%. Yeah,
did you do She's the Woman yet?
Who made these spreadsheets? I need to know.
Well, this one was Scott Haskett, I think, did this one up for us.
Oh yeah, Haskett did that one.
Yeah,
somebody's.
I was like, which one of you is the spreadsheet person?
Oh, it's not me. It's not me. I just didn't put the numbers, but yeah, She's the Woman was number 3 on that album.
And you did do She's the Woman was number 3. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So evidently there's something people are hearing in this album that I'm not, but it's fine.
Wow. You haven't done As Is yet.
Nope.
No, not yet.
Oh man, that's killer. Yeah.
That's a banger.
Bullet Heads.
But we do have we do have quite a bit of people talking on this, and if you want your guaranteed tweet read on the show, you know what you got to do. You got to head over to our Patreon, man. We got a Patreon. Check it out. Find a tier that's right for you. I guarantee you something will catch your eye. And if it's not there, let us know. We'll make it happen. Just a shout out to our patrons, Matt Lacoste, Nate from the Deep Purple Podcast, Rava Flav, our buddy Josh, Greg Zito, Michael Griffith, Chaz Charles, Sean McGinnity, Kevin Brown, lurking in the chat, Per Lineker, Scott Monroe, Ryan Powell, and Jeff Brewer. Thank you guys so much. I think that was everybody. But so let's go through the tweets from our patrons. Sean,
we got a new one. Sorry. We got a brand new one. I better not forget him. Yeah, Ben Andriozzi signed up here just recently. So we should say a big thank you to him, and hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ben. If you tweeted, I hope I do not miss it. But anyway, starting with Sean McGinnity, he said, "I enjoyed it and it has enough in it to make it fun, but I'm less likely to come back to it. But I also can't find enough in it to fault it. So it gets a thumbs up from me." So there you go. Sean McGinnity right away. He's like, "Nope, can't downvote it." I respect it. Mike Griffith, he says, "I was a week late with my manifestation. I love this track. And like I said on the You're No Good episode, this should have been the first single. I get the criticism on the mixing front, but the mixing on this album is way better than 3 OU812 and 5150. Would you agree with that sentiment?"
I kind of like the sound of 5150, but OU812 definitely.
All right, fair enough. All right. So from the Deep Purple Podcast, that'd be Nate, says, "I thought it was an enjoyable track. Band members returning is always tricky, but after the hiatus, I feel like this delivers on what the Dave era has. Impossible to fulfill those expectations, but I thought this was a good track." So again, more high fives and positive vibes here. I'm not seeing a lot of nah. Ask it and you shall receive from Rava Flav. He says, "I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. Thank you."
Oh.
Thank you for being kind of sort of on my side.
Rava Flav.
Yeah, there was a lot that it didn't work for me as well. And that is, hints. the down vote. So thank you, Rava Flay, for helping me out on that. So moving on here, Scott Everett says, one of my favorites from A Different Kind of Truth. I don't freak out like the wannabe sound engineers that get so lost in the mix. This is a song to the fans with "Look at all the people here tonight" being a tour reference. Maybe some things are lost on those that never had that experience. Maybe. Yeah, there he goes with that. I thought he was doing a little mini festo, but not so much. So, all right, moving on. Chaz Mataz. Oh, Chaz says, downvotes cause cancer. Stop the madness. Say it like you mean it. One of Dave's most sincere passages in the whole catalog. I mean, downvotes causing cancer. I think that's a little extreme. No point intended.
Damn, someone call the doctor, bro.
Hey,
somebody call me a doctor. As if that wasn't enough, Chaz goes on to say, Dave's whispered section, say it like you mean it. My gut tells me that whole section was aimed at Ed, tapping into years of harboring real spite. But the overall theme is, we did it one more time, boys. It warms my heart every time I hear it. Eric, you're on the show. You're our resident expert. Would you say, or do you have it on good authority that line is directed at Ed specifically?
No, that's basically Dave saying, after all these years, you know, I knew it was going to happen, and here it is. That's what that line is all about. Again, that's why I think it should have been the first single. It's a statement song. It's just it would have been so perfect. But yeah, no, he's not directing that at Ed. He's saying that to the fans who've been wanting him back for a long time. Long time. I mean, yeah, clearly, because people were just, I guess, sick of the Hagar era, and definitely were not into whatever happened on Van Halen 3. And for that, I understand. And for that, apologies to Gary. Moving on, Scott Monroe says, one of my favorites from the album. It largely captures the vibe of its demo origins, although I wish there were some stronger harmonies in the mix. I don't disagree with you. Classic Eddie Van Halen guitar work here is the main attraction. I definitely could have seen a version of this song existing on Diver Down. And he goes on to say, Dave's vocals are in the strike zone for this era. Lyrically, it's all about what the band has been through, a love letter to their journey and to perseverance in general, seasoned with David Lee Roth poetry. Hashtag what dreams are made of for sure, and a top tier track for this album. That's bullseye right there. That's perfect. There you go. You Scott, Eric vouches, then that means it's A+ gold standard. So there you go. Jeff Brewer says, not a downvote, but I have lots of issues, starting with Dave's note on Saints. It's really not great. The lyrics are a nostalgic callback to his hammy stage repartee, but kind of thin. And the title belongs on a Slayer song or a Game of Thrones episode, not this tepid tune. A tepid tune, he calls it. I get what he's saying on that. I don't know if I would use the word tepid. Fine word, tepid, but not what I would call it. But anyway, and then Matt Lacoste says, Roth's victory dance. Say no more. Hashtag what dreams are made of. So yes, the real winner of this poll is David Lee Roth, because of course it is. Diamond Dave. And Diamond Dave, yeah, diamonds are forever. But not his vocal ability. Anyway, so hey. And he loves hanging. It had to be said. If he is gonna keep re-recording old songs poorly and then giving us weird dancing videos for no damn reason at all, then it has something traumatizing us with his moves and hanging out with dog statues. You know, I don't need that. Trying to feed it a cheeseburger. Yeah. I got enough of that. I don't need David Lee Roth causing more in my adult years. So, so there you go. All right, those are the tweets. Thank you guys so much. Again, you want your tweet guaranteed read on the show? Join the Patreon. It'll be a fun time. It'll be fun for us and fun for Corey. He loves podcasting. Hey, Corey, should we do our other favorite thing before we get into the actual spinning of the wheel? You mean manifest? That's right. I just wanted to hear you say it. Corey, well, I got to sneak out, guys. I'm sorry. Let me let you go before you do that.
Oh, you got to manifest the song before you go, though.
Want me to manifest a song before I go?
Yeah.
My agent's tapping me on the shoulder. I got to go. I'm going to, let's see, manifest. Let's do, you know what? Let's manifest As Is.
There you go.
As Is.
There you go.
Going back to it. So, well, Eric, thank you so much for popping in, giving us a top 6, and always a pleasure. Come back anytime.
Hell yeah, man. I listen every week. Faithful listener.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
We love it.
Take her easy.
Appreciate you, man.
Take it easy, guys. Chelsea,
So,
goodbye, wherever you are.
Bye. Sorry, there's so much thunder right now. I'm like,
It's not
Hopefully
even
Kelsey's
Thor's
power
day.
stays on.
Go home, Thor. You're
yeah,
drunk.
no, for real. No, it just started. So this is what just happened. It just started storming, and I'm like panicking, trying to remember if I shut my windows or not. I'm like,
Oh, jeez.
well, I mean, at this point, like, whatever. So,
Yeah.
but I'm sure if I didn't close it, my dad did. So let's just pray on that. Everyone manifest that for me, that I don't
There
go
you go.
outside
There you
and
go.
find my
Manifest closed windows and closed doors during a storm. Absolutely.
and that my car is okay.
I hear that. So, all right, we've got one manifestation from As Is. What did the Discord manifest this week, Corey?
All right. We got a few in there. Let's take a look here. Go to manifestations, and we have Summer Nights from Scott Monroe. That's a great one. Although it's stormy nights in Kelsey's neck of the woods.
I
right now.
know. Lame.
Jeff Brewer was here, Dance the Night Away. I've been trying to manifest that one since
Hell
I think
yeah.
show 3. So I'd be down for that one. And Kevin Brown, Agent of Chaos, says spanked. He wants to hear that from more unlawful. So we'll see if that comes up tonight. I want to do that on a live show though. I'm hoping we save that one for a live show.
Let's hope. But the wheel is fickle sometimes, but who knows? Sometimes we can call a shot. So, Kelsey, being that you're manifesting closed doors and, dry cars, what about Van Halen? What do you want to manifest for being on the show tonight?
Well, it's funny that the first one that you said was Summer Nights, because I saw that on the list, and that's one of my favorite, like, I could put that in my top 10 probably of Van Halen songs. So I would love to hear that one. If not that one, anything from For Unlawful, I would love to hear. I always love reviewing those songs.
Preaching to the choir. Yes, that would be great. But Summer Nights, we'll say it's a Summer Nights and close second, a fuck album song. Great stuff. Corey, how about yourself, man? What do you want to bring to the table tonight?
You know what? I kind of enjoyed hearing that OU812 made a couple of our 6-packs here tonight. So I'm going to go back to OU812 and a little Black and Blue. That's what I'm hoping to spin here tonight.
Ooh, I love that song.
That one's been requested quite a bit. Yeah, so it would
banger.
I think it would be a good time. Yeah, good time to do that. So I, on the other hand, am going to manifest Light Up the Sky.
Oh, very nice.
And I want to do I don't know. Yeah, the conversation about Van Halen 2 and where I put it in my placement and yours just really got me thinking about it. So yeah, I was like, I'd like to hit up Light Up the Sky. I think that would be something fun to talk about. So there you go. And on a sort of a proxy vote for manifestation of Amsterdam from another person off screen. So just got to throw that in there.
Is she ready to go if we spin it? Is she ready to go if we spin it?
I warned her.
Okay.
Hey, I warned her, and she made the joke. So if it happens, be prepared for a new guest.
All right, sounds good. Well, since we were talking Van Halen 6-pack, let's shuffle the wheel 6 times here tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Well, we're going to get 5150, and it's going to be Get Up.
Get up.
Okay.
All right.
Look how close to spanked it was.
Damn.
It was
Or
so
Big
close.
Bad Bill.
Oh my God. We
Yeah.
had a shit sandwich. We had spanked on one side and Big Bad Bill on the other. That would have been something.
I would have loved to do The Dream Is Over, though. That would
Me
have been
too.
a
I love
great
that
song.
track. Yeah.
But alas, we go to the 5150 realm, another Van Hagar era. Not mad about it. Kelsey, you got any, without showing your hand or talking too much about it, do you have any fond memories or anecdotes that have to do with Get Up from 5150?
Honestly, not really. There's so many other good tracks on this album that I haven't listened to this one as much as I've listened to the other ones, but it's on my list for like my playlist for sure.
Fair enough. How about yourself there, Corey?
Yeah, this is one that when I'm listening to 5150, this never was one that kind of stood out to me. It's obviously it's sandwiched between Why Can't This Be Love and Dreams, which is a tough place for that song. But yeah, so it's been a while since I heard it. I don't want to tip my hand any certain direction, but I'm really looking forward to this one. How about you, Mark?
Same. It's been a while. I've definitely heard it. Definitely jammed 5150 on several occasions, but this it's been a while. And again, I'm listening with the analytical ear this time around. Now that we're doing this show, so I don't know how I'm going to think about it.
All right. Well, let's just get right into it and take you all the way back to the first album with Mr. Sammy Hagar. This is Get Up from 5150.
Oh man, not to cut it off right there, but that intro just makes me think the producer was telling Eddie, put more stank on it. It's not stanky enough. Like, yeah, because it sounds like he's taking his whammy bar and he's just got it all the way on the other side,
holding his guitar by it.
Of the guitar.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just like, is that stinky enough for you? Just pounding on it and like, yeah, perfect. And then Alex comes in with that drum fill, and oh man, that's good stuff.
Nice, clean double bass, too, from Alex Van Halen. Love that on the intro.
Yeah.
Kelsey, what did you think?
Oh, my gosh. Every time I hear like a intro where it's like just Ed, I'm in heaven. I'm like, oh, this sounds so good. It really does. Like when it came on, I don't know if you watched it, but I literally shut my eyes. I was like, oh, wow. It's great. I love, and his tone on his tone on this album is so good too. So his tone's always good. So like it's good.
I talked about this being sandwiched between Why Can't This Be Love and Dreams, but with an intro like that, that's the perfect one to slide right in there, right? You're coming off a ballad.
Stand out. Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds like they wrote this with Dave. Doesn't it sound like that to you? Like it sounds very stranger in the rear view mirror, there's trouble on the wind. Like that's what it sounds like it should be. Like that, I don't know. Like it's that like fast drumming, and it sounds like the way that he's singing is like he's like talk singing like David does.
Yeah, I could see that. I know lyrically this fits more Sammy because Sammy was a fighter, right? So.
Oh, right. But I mean, like the way that he rides the music sounds just like David.
Totally. I could absolutely see that. I just kind of dug that. It was Sammy talking about fighting. They're out to knock you out, put you down for the count. Watch left, watch the right. Yeah. I just saw Creed 3, so that fits right in.
Nice.
Good stuff. To me, well, just kind of utilizing what you were talking about, Kelsey. It's that swing. It's that kind of old like rock and roll Van Halen swing that they do so well. They do it a lot, and they do it a lot because it works, and it just puts you just in that good like party rock mood, that Van Halen mood. I don't understand how you listen to this, even just the opening right here, and you're still bummed out that it's not David Lee Roth. You're still bummed out. Are you not listening? Like, listen to this. This is Van Halen.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I just like, it sounds like they did. Like, it just sounds like this is like a song.
Oh, no. I wasn't calling you out directly. I was talking to the proverbial
I know what you mean.
audience who are just like, there you go. Just
they're not like, wow, this shit sucks because Sammy's on it.
Yeah. It's just like,
I feel that way with all of
David
Sammy's
singing.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Everyone so like gives Sammy such shit just because he wasn't David Roth in the band.
Well,
like, he's Sammy Hagar.
Yeah, and I always say like, well, and I think it shows contrast, especially sandwiched between Why Can't This Be Love and Dreams. That is totally not David Van Halen at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I feel like totally is like
he can't do that.
No, that's exactly. So I'm like, this sounds like such a different. You're like, oh, this kind of sounds like old Van Halen or the Van Halen before this. And then, but yeah, I agree with you on that because people are like, oh, like Sammy wasn't real Van Halen. And I'm like, you're missing out on so much of Eddie's progress and his playing and his tone and Alex's and Michael's. I'm like, because there's a different person singing. Come on, dude. Yeah. There's so much good music to listen to.
Those Roth diehards are just so stubborn, but they're out there. There's even to this day, they still exist. And I speak out to the mass audience. How can you listen to this particular track, even just this short bit, and still be like, well, it's still not real Van Halen because it's not Dave? Like, shut up. Get out of here.
Look how many people in their six packs just put Van Halen 1 all the way through 1984 as the top 6, right? And just discounted everything that came after 84.
Grow up, you guys. Branch out. Listen to some other stuff.
Yeah. Josh in the chat had an interesting comment because it's actually something I thought of listening to that intro, that the whammy bar work sounds like Ed's playing slide. I thought he was playing slide there for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have utilized like an actual slide. It's probably in there. But he's definitely making the whammy bar his bit.
Has he done that before? Have you ever heard
he never did a ton of slide. There was a
That's what I'm thinking. Have you ever heard a slide in one of their songs? Because I could not tell you one right now.
I think there might have been one on Fair Warning.
I can't tell you, but there's a few.
Yeah. But definitely rare. But I could just see him in like the studio with like a beer bottle, using that as a slide on the neck, right? And then taking the whammy bar.
That's probably more accurate.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Cigarette hanging out of his mouth, right? Looking super cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
To update everyone, my windows were up.
Oh, good.
My mom went outside to check and she was like, Excellent. They were all up. I was like, let's go.
All right, we can relax and get back in it. Help me out, Mark. That sounds like slide. Is that all whammy bar there? Like it was so tight.
That is the whammy bar is when the guitar makes that whoa and then comes back up. Like those dive bombs. Like he utilizes those
DOA intro the whammy bar type shit.
Yeah.
But no, what you're hearing on this? Yeah, that's slide work.
Okay. And the guys are talking in the chat about the trans trem. Is that a tremolo that he's using on this?
I believe so. I'm not a complete gearhead, but I think that's correct.
Jeff just pointed out that the trans trem is pretty cool. He likes how it was used on Summer Nights a little bit better.
I agree.
I'm not a big guitar dude, so I didn't know what that meant. All right, let's get back to her. Come on, man.
I love their harmonies.
Making it work. It's making it work.
Yeah.
I love I know we're pointing out the guitars quite a bit, but listen to what Alex Van fucking Halen is doing on this track.
Oh my God. I was just thinking the same thing. Like
he's barely stopped. Like
they said, this is Alex's song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Alex's song.
Oh, and Jeff says he used a slide in Dirty Movies and Intruders. So I knew there was one from Fair Warning on there.
Ah, yes.
Oh, Dirty Movies. Yeah. Duh.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. I love when Eddie like jumps in after the vocalist and does those little taps. He does that in a few songs. I know I've heard it before. So I love when he just like he's pulling back a little bit to let Sammy do his thing because Sammy's obviously going off right here. He sounds great. Yeah. But Eddie's just kind of like, I'm still here. Ding, ding, ding,
Kind of like a call and response, you know?
Yeah. Like they're playing off each other.
Yeah. Sammy's just rolling with that line, and then just right when he's done, Eddie's gonna like. It's kind of like an echo in a way, but it's not like a direct echo, obviously, because he's not playing
the melody.
But it's like a call and response. He does do that quite a bit. It's very cool because it's creative and and he's got the ear for it. Yeah, and it makes me feel like the band is just incredibly engaged in the moment. And that's not, you want that. You need to have the musical chemistry. That's what makes a band, stay together.
It's playful. It's fun. And he did it with all three singers, which I thought was cool. Jeff Brewer has a correction for us in the chat. It's not a slide. The Transtram works like a movable capo. When he uses the bar, each of the strings stay in tune with each other.
Interesting. Huh. Well, there you go. So on this song, he's not using the slide, but the other ones he was.
Yeah. According to Jeff, it's not a slide on this. It's the Transtram working like a movable capo. So
cool.
I'm assuming that means something to Mark.
The capo?
Transtram? Is that what it was?
Yeah, sure. Like that one just went like out of my brain entirely.
Let me look it up. Hold on.
I'll take your word for it.
Jeff knows his stuff. Yeah, he knows his stuff. So.
Thank God we got Jeff.
Yeah, so I'm not going to argue with you, Jeff.
Because Eddie recorded this on a Steinberger, and so Josh pointed out that he always wanted a Transtram, but he couldn't afford a Steinberger at the time. So is that something that's kind of standard with those guitars?
It must be, because I've never actually played on one of those because again they're expensive and I don't touch the instruments if they reach a certain
one of these motherfuckers. Little thing.
Yeah, but it must be it must be something in particular in the pickup system that gives it its tone, its precision. So yeah, okay, I believe all that.
That's awesome. Thanks to all the guitar gear heads in the chat here correcting us here.
Again, I have no fucking clue. I just like playing.
No, yeah, me either. I'm like, they're just pretty.
All right, let's keep going. All right, before we get into that, Scott Monroe in the chat wanted to point out Mikey's a hero on the chorus. That's really what stuck in his head from this track.
Like, he is howling for the moon.
Dear God, like it's so fucking cool.
That was good. That was really good.
It's like a train was about to collide with another train, but then time reversed itself, and then it went back forward, and then it crashed. But the crash was was like a beautiful melancholic sort of, not melancholic, but it was just it was a beautiful crash is what it was. I don't if that makes really any sense whatsoever, because like that's chaos is what I just heard.
Exactly. Beautiful, beautiful chaos between the Van Halen brothers. And to your point at the beginning of the song, I don't understand how the DLR apologists listen to this and say, that's crap. That's not Van Halen.
Yeah.
Are you?
Or they just dismiss it entirely, because like I'm willing to make a wager that most of them didn't even listen to this album. Or if they did, maybe they listened to like one single and then just like, whatever, not interested. Like,
yep.
Bro, just listen to it. Listen to all of it. Give it a fair assessment, and then you can comment.
Yeah, they heard "Why Can't This Be Love" and took the CD out or lifted the off the record.
Yeah, they didn't get that far.
Ugh, so stupid.
Sammy sounds really good. He really does. I love the way Sammy sounds. Like, I know people don't like, he is a very ballad heavy type of guy, but like when he's doing this stuff too, like he's still, even those like quick, like high notes, vibrato, like he still does it. He sounds like, cause I know like we said, we talk about all the guitars, and I mean, we've talked about Ed and Alex and Michael here, but I think Sammy sounds so good.
Oh, could not agree more. Like, this is such a great album for him. Like, and then you have Dreams right after this, where he's really pushing it, but he's not overpowering the music. Lyrically, it's really cool. He's singing it cool. Some of the best screams on the album are in this song. He's absolutely killing it. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to that, because yes, all of those things.
Sorry, Mark.
Just as a vocal aside here, it's one thing to scream. It's another to do a scream that actually fits the key of the song that you're singing. And if you're really good, screaming on pitch is very difficult. As someone who screams at people quite a lot these days on stage, it's really hard to do that. Like it's hard to scream on pitch, and like the precise pitch that he wanted to hit. Like this sound, I don't know if it was 100% purposeful, but the way Sammy does it and just kind of comes out of him, it seems like it's effortless. Maybe there's editing involved. I don't know. All I know is that it sounds like that's exactly how he wanted to scream it. That's exactly the note he was going for. If he told you straight up, yes, what I did here was 100% purposeful, like there was no accident, I believe it. I would absolutely believe it. It's hard to do that, and that is just the testament of a very in tune with their own instrument vocalist, man. Because like you guys know I'm a Sammy fan, but geez, that guy, he was so damn good.
His vocal control is insane.
It's was 5150 on all of our Van Halen top sixes? I know it was on mine.
It was on mine.
Was it on mine? Oh no, it was not actually. But again, really? I said my list is probably going to be like ever changing throughout the years, and by the time we're done with the show, or at least done with this iteration, guarantee you my top six changes.
All right, we got 39 seconds left. Let's finish off. Get Up.
Do it.
My
Damn.
goodness.
Woo. Damn. Woo.
Van
Wow.
Halen doesn't bring the storm. They are the
Are
storm.
the fucking storm.
Crazy stuff. There you go. There's Get Up from 5150. And again, and maybe we have listeners that just never gave 5150 a shot just because they just didn't think about it. It's like, oh, it's not the Roth era, so I don't even know if I want to listen to it. Like, well,
Right.
I really hope you're tuning into our show, and I hope you tuned into this track, and perhaps that will change your mind. And if it didn't, I don't know what to tell you. So there you go.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I think it's I think I have a pretty good guess, but I'm just gonna go through the notions anyway. We're gonna vote. We're gonna vote on how we felt about the song. Kelsey, you're our honored guest for the evening. So dare I ask, would you say Get Up is What Dreams Are Made Of, or are you just kind of meh?
I was just listening to that tail end, that just the Get Up and Make It Work. Like, I'm like, I could totally hear David singing this, like, for real. Like, but I think this, like, looking through or thinking about the way the album flows, I think this is like, it stands out, but in a good way. Like, you're like, oh, this is still the same Van Halen I've been listening to for the past however many years, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's why I think it still showcases raw Van Halen with a different singer, but they're still showing like, hey, it's still us, you know, we're still here. So that's why I say yes.
A perfectly reasonable sentiment behind that, and definitely truth. Like, hey, yes, we are still the Van Halen, you see. But you know, you can't convince people unless they actually listen to it. So Corey, you've listened to this song, so now I have to ask you, is it What Dreams Are Made Of, or did Get Up just bring you down?
So at the top of the show, I had to try and play it cool, like, oh yeah, you know, I don't know this one too well and all that. This is one of my favorite fucking songs on 5150, and it's definitely top three. You know, I love Dreams and I love Best of Both Worlds. This is right up there with both of those. I fucking love this track and everything about it. And if my wife didn't have to work tomorrow morning, I'd be heading downstairs to my drum kit after we're done recording and trying to play this, because it's just so much fun to play on the drums. It's amazing. Absolutely love this track. So What Dreams Are Made Of for me. Mark Meyer, boy, I'm hovering over The Dream Is Over, because you surprised me last week. Let's see what you're going to call this week. Is this What Dreams Are Made Of, or is The Dream Over once more for Mark Meyer?
First of all, I just want to point out that Corey did leg day, and then he's talking about wanting to play this on drums.
Yeah. That's how good it is.
Jobs
never stops.
The work is never done, is it, sir? So,
I don't know if I'd make it through the song, but I would start it.
But you would try, and it's the effort that counts. So listen, man, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say about this song? I think I showed my hand in the first 20 seconds of the song. Like, I remember this one. I'm going to really enjoy this. It has everything that I know I say this a lot about a lot of songs, but Van Halen is just consistent when they give you the proper formula of Van Halen. It's why they were so successful. It's why you keep tuning into them. You keep spinning the records, because when they really nail it, performing a song, they nail it, and they do it the best way they can do it. And it's the Van Halen way. This song is absolutely the Van Halen way. Do you even think remotely, I say this out there to the cosmos, the ether, do you think David Lee Roth could remotely sing the way Sammy Hagar sings on this song? Do you think Dave could keep up with this song? I know you're probably thinking he did in Hot for Teacher, or he did in these other songs. Like, no. I'm talking about this one. I'm talking about Get Up. You think Dave could keep up with that? No, I don't think he could. If he wants to re-record with his own vocals on this particular track, I say go for it. I would really look forward to hearing what that sounds like. But nevertheless, I'm not here to insult Dave. I'm just here to say You guys, Sammy Hagar's the fucking man. Okay. And this is just one shining example. Also, though, not to be in no small last, but certainly not least, Michael Anthony is the unsung hero, which is ironic because he's singing his ass off in this particular track for background vocals. You need a Michael Anthony. Every great band needs a Michael Anthony. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So there you go. I've got nothing else to add because this is just a great track. And I don't understand, if you're a Van Halen fan, why you would not enjoy Get Up. It has the Van Halen swing, the rock and swagger. Everybody is just on point. It's great. It's what dreams are made of. There you go. Full sweep. Put a period on that. Stamp it. Send it out. But we can't, because Corey likes to do this thing where he makes me play a game that I'm not good at.
Oh,
That's right. It's time to play How Many Times Did Van Halen Perform Get Up? So we're going to start with Kelsey, because everybody loves Kelsey, and she's bound to beat Mark at this game. Kelsey, how
Hold
many
on.
times do you think...
I'm trying to think. I'm like trying to do the math in my head real quick. Oh my gosh.
How many times do you think Van Halen performed Get Up?
I'm going to say let's go 400 times.
400 times. All right. That's a nice big number. Mark Kamara, remember, Price is Right rules. You have to get closest to the actual number without going over. How many times do you think Van Halen performed Get Up?
Well, if I'm in the band, we're playing this shit every freaking
That's
show,
what I'm thinking.
but-
I'm like, it's on the set list every
Yeah,
night, 30
but-
dates.
But I gotta say, this just seems like the kind of track that they absolutely would not play every show.
That's true. Yeah.
Certainly not when Dave came back to the band. So there you go. You cut a lot of that out. I'm gonna say they probably played this song a healthy number of 180 times.
Here you go.
180. Well, you both went over. The correct number is 112 times.
Oh,
And guess what? They were all in the same year. They only performed this song in 1986.
Yeah, I bet Sammy was like, not again.
Maybe Alex was
that
like,
is
not
true.
again.
Maybe Alex too.
It might-
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
it was
so-
Alex and Eddie.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the rhythm of it is so difficult. I can imagine putting that in a set list and playing it every night is hard. It's a heavy song. It's a hard song.
It is.
I'm looking
maybe
at a
Sam was just
sample.
like, yeah, I'm gonna have to stop it. And Michael Anthony's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah,
How is
no,
this-
exactly.
Here's how these shows started when they played it. You Really Got Me was the opener. Then There's Only One Way to Rock. And then Summer Nights. And then Get Up into the drum solo.
They put There Was Only One Way to Rock in their set
Ooh.
list.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. I bet it went hard. I'm not going to lie, but that just surprises me.
That's even on the live
That
right here, right
lineup,
now.
yeah.
Double album they just put out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's a bold choice of songs to put one after another. But hey, you're Van Halen. You go for it. But maybe that's what tired them out. I don't know. And they just decided, yeah, we can cut this one.
Yeah.
Wish they hadn't though. But
Well, imagine, Get Up into the drum solo. And then at least they gave Sammy gets a break during the drum solo. Then he goes right into Dreams.
That's what that
Alex
is.
not. There you go. We figured it out. It was,
Yeah, that's what that is.
It was the back to back.
Because it
Get Up
snowed
and
every
drum
night.
solo. Yeah, and then Alex was just like, "Look, this is my band, and I'm saying no.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
not doing that anymore."
Yeah.
And they're like, "All
That's
right, all right."
That's crazy.
Yeah, but only played during
112
5150.
times.
And
Crazy.
Scott Monroe says this song better get up over 90%. We haven't hit
agree.
90% on any song on this album, though. Why Can't This Be Love is the top vote getter, 87.9%, followed closely by 5150 and then Best of Both Worlds. So I could see Get Up being in those mid 80s again, like 85, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
If 5150 and Why Can't This Be Love couldn't crack 90%, there's no chance Get Up's cracking 90. I wish, and
Yeah.
like maybe we'll get an absurd amount of voters, but I just don't see it happening because I mean, look at the stats. It's right there. I just, for whatever reason, you guys are just not big on 5150 like you would think. And
Which is so crazy to me.
I know. How is
It's because
Dreams
it's a Sammy
78%? Like Dreams is such a great fucking tune, 78%.
It breaks my heart. Like I'm like, because like, it's just, Van Halen just like, I mean, yeah, it changed so much as a band, but like Eddie's still there. Like 95 for the percent. I guess what is it? 75% of the band is still there.
The flavor's still there. The formula still works. It's all
the Van Halens are still in Van Halen.
Yeah, this, you got you're subbing one eccentric singer for a lesser so, but that lesser so eccentricity is made up for in the raw pure talent of his vocal ability. So, and we can say what we want about his lyrical ability versus Dave's, and we'll cross that bridge when we once again come to it, I'm sure. But nevertheless, I still don't see why people are so down on Van Halen just because of a new singer, because I personally think it improved, but that's just me. And you guys know how I roll with that. But nevertheless, tonight, the night belongs to Sammy Hagar, and it belongs to all of us because we got to listen to a good rockin' Van Halen tune and have fun doing it. We all enjoy it. Full clean sweep. And there it is. So before we say our goodbyes, let's go ahead and do the thing we need to do, which is tell you where you can find the show. You can find the show at www.podcastwillrock.com, and you can find all the episodes. All of our socials are on there. Our merch stores are on there. Thank you, Kevin Brown, for your contributions. It seems like there will be an endless supply, so get them while you can, because it's just like there's just so many, and it's going to be really funny if I see an army of people wearing these little inside joke shirts, and you only know if you know. I want to see that. Make my dream come true, everybody. Buy some merch, wear your shirts around, have people look at you funny and go like, what the hell does that even mean? You go, you got to tune in to find out. Tune in to Podcast Will Rock. Find us on Twitter at Podcast Will Rock, and the Podcast Will Rock on Facebook. Those are the socials that, the Patreon. We've got a Patreon. I've mentioned it before. I'm saying it again. Join the Patreon. We've got tiers that will work for you, I promise. And again, if we don't, let us know, and Corey and I will make it happen. Corey will not rest until the entire podcasting airwaves are his. God damn it. He wants to hold them all in the palm of his hand. He's like the devourer of worlds, Galactus, and he's coming for all of your podcasts to devour and to gain its power so that only he remains. And the Corey Morissette podcasting universe is all there is. Speaking of, hey, Corey, where can the people find us and other podcasts in this amazing podcasting network we're a part of?
Well, I'll tell you what, I just want to throw this out there. If you want Kelsey full-time on the show, you're going to have to pony up some dough, because, we're going to have to pay this girl for the insight she brings. I guarantee it's not going to be cheap. So please, if you want to spend an afternoon with Kelsey, we'll make a tier. She'll just hang out with you. She'll talk Van Halen, regale you with stories. It'll be a wonderful time. Yeah. So, but you can find us as part of the Deep Dive Podcast Network, which features such great shows as Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited, featuring myself and John Mariano and Scott Haskin. Backtracks Theme Music, talking all things music and movies with John Mariano. Scott Haskin is doing the Magicians Podcast, the Uriah Heep Show. He's almost wrapping that one up, as he's pretty much covered every single thing they've ever recorded in their entire career. Nate and John at the Deep Purple Podcast, The Simple Man at Skinnerd Reconsidered, Terry T-Bone Mathley at T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the Other Side, Rye at Sabbath Bloody Podcast, Paul Joan David at In the Lap of the Pods, Andy and Matt at Hawk Binge, Eric and Jonathan at Maiden A to Z, Daniel and Josh at Diary of the Madman, the Ultimate Aussie Podcast, Ben and Sam at Universally Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Podcast, George and Hattie at the Judas Priest Cast, Clay and Raya at North by South Podcast, Greg and Jonathan at So Far, So Pod, So What, Kevin Brown does the Tom Petty Project, and with Randy Woods, Seaside Pod Review, Quinn at In Volume for All, Sav, Nick, Steve, and Mark at the Rock Roulette Podcast, Chaz and Greg at Regarding Lulu, and of course, some of our favorite podcasts and good friends, Sean Geek and the Fast Fred Podcast, You're All Doomed, a Friday the 13th podcast, the DLR Cast, the Bogus Oda Show, Pod of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, Booked on Rock with the legendary Eric Senich, who was here earlier tonight, Dissect That Film, and Three's Company 2, a rewatch podcast.
Woo! All of that, and they will all be devoured by Corey one way or another as the day comes. Look, you guys, we're making our way through Van Halen's catalog pretty steadily now, and I mean, we're not finished yet. We still got a ways to go. We got 37 tracks. We got 37, but all of those will be gone in the blink of an eye if you're not careful. And what do we do then? How is Corey going to satiate his podcasting hunger without another show? I'm telling you, he's coming for yours. So be careful, but be prepared. But at least he's a nice guy about it. So you'll enjoy having him, and you'll enjoy being part of his network. So I'm just going to keep making jokes until it finally happens. And it was like, oh,
the
shit,
CMPU
he did it. My God.
rules all. Yep.
One of us. So Kelsey, thank you so much for being on the show again. You're an honorary panelist at this point, fan favorite. If you got anything you want to plug, any socials, let the people know where they can find you.
The easiest way is my Twitter, which is Kelsey Van Halen. So that's pretty much all my stuff. But yeah, no, like I said, it's always a blast to come on. Thank you for making this happen on short notice. This is a blast. And I'm so glad like every time I come on here, I'm like hoping for a song I'm super familiar with, but I always I've gotten a few that I'm super familiar with, but this one wasn't one that I was super familiar with. So it was really nice. I love coming on here and being able to examine tracks that I don't listen to all the time, you know.
That's the beauty of the show, and it's
exactly
for us too. You know, like Corey and I were just making our way through a band that we enjoy, but we're rediscovering our love, and we find something new every day, something more to appreciate, and it's good stuff. So
I always love this band more when I leave.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Good. Then to me, we've done our job, and we're continuously doing our job. So hell yeah. Thank you so much for being part of it. You can find me at Mark the Bat on Twitter and Instagram if you want to shout out at me and find out what I got going on when I'm not ranting about Van Halen things. But of course, I don't rant. I simply have a conversation, and there are luckily other people more intelligent than I, and then every once in a while more with the expertise than I do of this band, because I am no expert, I'm no historian, just a simple fan. Corey, just a simple fan. Kelsey, more of an expert, but still a humble fan. And that's why we are here, to talk about a band that we love, because we're fans and we love it. All of Van Halen, not just one specific era. Remember that. We are, and the podcast will rock, and we will rock you later.